Welcome back, everyone, to the Corsace Closed quarterfinals. We're here with another losers bracket matchup between Taquito and Zylice. Again, a matchup between two players with relatively similar skill sets, but with some key differences between them that I think are going to dictate how a lot of the picks go between these two. Once again, it's going to be myself, Dio, and Fiery Rage casting this matchup. So let's talk about the players a little bit, Fiery.
Yeah, Xylis on paper has, I'd say, the speed advantage in this matchup. Just head-to-head, you can sort of see that. Stamina and speed, Xylis is quite considerably better, though the round of 16 results sort of tanked his speed and stamina stats from beforehand. You could sort of see Tekkito as well, though. Fairly comfortable on speed and stamina, actually raising those stats up from his qualifier standing from the round of 16 matchup. But yeah, essentially, both these players are very good at hidden. We're probably going to be seeing a lot of hidden picks, or just avoiding it entirely. Maybe they just do not want to play each other on hidden. That is a very real possibility. And as for Xylis, I think picking in speed is probably going to be the priority for the first few picks. It's not going to be too surprising to see that from him, I think. Xylis will be getting first pick, so Taquito has first ban. And we'll get into the pick ban phase here.
I think one thing to consider as well is that Taquito is a very, very good tech player in comparison to Xylis. I think Xylis, definitely, as you said, preferring the speed over somebody like Taquito. Xylis, especially in solo play, one of the better speed players around in general. Taquito, of course, still a very solid speed player in tournaments, and you can actually see that from the statistics that we have on screen for him. Still competitive on speed with Xylis over the course of this Corsace Closed, and over previous times where Taquito has played in Corsace Closed as well. But a lot of focus on reading for Xylis, a lot of focus on speed, and I think that kind of focus on speed and stamina is going to be really integral to the pick strategy for him. I'm actually very surprised at a hidden 3 ban from Xylis, banning out that low approach rate hidden in this pool. I think kind of an expected double time 2 ban from Taquito, but really did expect Xylis to kind of pick into the low approach rate hidden if he were to pick into any of those hiddens, just because Taquito is so good at those awkward aim hiddens and at the really tricky flow aim tech sort of stuff in hidden as well.
I just want to make a little correction. Hidden 3 is actually the flow aim hidden in the tournament, not the low AR. That is hidden 2. So I can get behind that ban from Xylis. I can also get behind Nomod. I can get behind Nomod 6 as well. The Rhythm Hell map gone. Hard Rock 2. I am now rooting for Xylis in this matchup. Hello, No, I'm not actually. But Nomod 5, first pick from Xylis. Barely expected. Speed.
Yeah, this is, I mean, we were talking about it before. Xylis, one of the better speed players around. Gonna be first picking Nomod 5. Really not any surprises there for anybody. I don't think we saw this in the previous matchup between Jimmy and Bartek as well, where Jimmy picked this, I believe, first pick as well. Typically when you see your opponent ban out any of those speed maps, your first pick tends to be one of the remaining speed maps in the pool. In this case, Xylis getting the choice between DT3 and Nomod 5 for the actual raw speed maps that are left up. This one to focus on longer streams and consecutive bursts at 235 BPM. Yes, 235 BPM.
So not quite as speed gated at the higher end of the BPM chain, like 240, 250-ish, just barely missing 240. So it is still something relatively within the range of, I think, Taquito's speed capabilities, and you can sort of see that right now. 99%, never mind, there goes that. Both players are going to be trading misses, though, and the accuracy is actually helping Taquito quite a lot right now. Xylis at 97%. That's pretty much the only difference right now. Combo is pretty much identical.
Both players still holding on to these, I believe, FCs. I don't know if those are just a bunch of slider ends dropped for Taquito or if he slider broke at the very beginning. Probably broke at the very start of the map.
No, this was breaks in the middle for both of these players, so they are not on FCs currently, but they are having high combos. They both broke at the exact same spot, pretty much. Right now, like I said, it's just the AC advantage for Taquito right now, keeping him in this, but can he hold that through the remaining fourth of the map? We'll see.
AC advantage to boot for Taquito, despite the slightly lower combo due to the timing of the misses. He is able to hold a first pick breakpoint on something like this would be really impactful through the course of the map. Almost finds a break on those chain hundreds and a 50 dropped in the middle of them, but manages to pull off the recovery right before breaking at the end. And it looks like this is going to go over so long as he's able to hold through the last couple of streams here at the very end of the map. And it is going to be the breakpoint on the first pick for Taquito. 17,000 score ahead for Taquito on that map is a very, very slim margin of victory, but the overall accuracy playing a slight part in that victory, as well as actually probably basically just the timing of the misses and the accuracy overall. Taquito not only with lower max combo, but with lower combo throughout the second half of the map as well, and so that score lead is, I think, all accuracy from Taquito, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that is pretty much fully accuracy. Combo is negligible, since that, I believe, is a 2k combo max on that map. So, pretty solid from Taquito. Almost dropping it at the end there. That full stream of 50s and 100s near the end almost gave Xylis an opportunity to claw that point back at the very end, but Taquito holding strong and having that nerve control as well. Like, he was shaking madly through that last part of the map, but still managed to hit pretty much everything. As major props for that. And we're going to be getting into DT3 now from Taquito, so kind of a bit of a deviation from what we were expecting, huh, Dia?
It definitely is, but I think after that Nomod 5 breakpoint, picking into something like the DT3 is almost a flex here. You do have still pretty standard metadata here. You're at AR10, OD 9.8, and so there's none of the high approach rate stuff that a DT specialist would necessarily benefit from. It's really just the higher BPM on this map. This one is 264, and of course a focus more so on the shorter bursts in this map as compared to some of the longer streams that we saw in Nomod 5. But Taquito very clearly warmed up for these speed picks and very clearly trying to, I think, put a wrench in Zylice's game plan from the very start of this match. Unfortunately, a little bit of a monkey wrench thrown into Taquito's plans, and he does find that first miss a quarter of the way through this pick. And despite the lower accuracy, now Xylis going to be able to build up that score lead with the higher combo still on the FC after another set of misses comes through for Taquito.
Combo advantage pretty much massively in favor of Xylis as we approach the halfway point of the map. Still relatively close if Xylis misses soon. Taquito still does have a solid chance at coming back on this pick, but it would have to be pretty much at the dead middle of the map, I'd say, for Xylis to miss. It doesn't really seem like he wants to be missing at any time right now. He has a lead and he wants to maintain that lead as much as he can.
I think this is the Xylis that we were expecting to see on these speed picks, right? The accuracy not necessarily there for him, but Xylis is not necessarily known for his really high accuracy on speed maps. He's known for being able to have that super high BPM stamina, being able to combo through just ridiculous parts of super difficult speed maps. And that is exactly what he's doing on this pick, already up around that 800,000 score mark, still holding onto the full combo. And yeah, he's on 96% accuracy, but this is not an act game, and that doesn't really matter when you are still on the full combo and your opponent isn't. So Xylis going to be able to take this point and tie it up 1-1. And, you know, maybe it's not exactly what he would have wanted from the first 2 speed picks in the match, but it is 1-1 after a trade of first picks for both players. So still a fairly solid recovery from Xylis after what could have been a really disastrous start to this match, right? If he loses this pick, then this is it is not looking good for him after losing both speed maps. Your confidence is kind of blown on stuff like the Nomod 2 as well at that point, and you start to kind of doubt whether or not your game plan was accurate or your strategy was good going into this match. But I think this is a confidence boost as well as a very good start to the match for Xylis after losing the first pick.
Yeah, but that does mean that Xylis now has less speed maps to work with here. DT2 has been banned, DT3 is picked, Nomod 5 is picked. That only really leaves Nomod 2, which Xylis is going to go for now, and DT1, which arguably I'd say isn't really much of a speed map. Actually, Hard Rock 1, I suppose, also classifies itself as a speed map in some regard, so there is that as well. But for now, Nomod 2, 200 BPM stream flow aim map.
Yeah, not a lot else to say about this pick. 200 BPM stream. There's, like you said, a flow aim requirement here. It's a non-trivial flow aim requirement. It can actually be pretty difficult at some times to deal with the flow aim in this map. A lot of high spacing on some of these streams that can be pretty difficult to keep the aim control together on. I feel like I need a better phrase for that, but being able to aim some of these streams while also dealing with the stamina strain at this BPM and at this stream length that this map demands is very, very tricky, and we often see players just note lock entire streams and completely destroy their accuracy by doing so.
And we saw that in the earlier matchup between Doomy and Bartek. A lot of note locks from both players on this map in particular. See if that happens again. For now, it seems like both Xylis and Taquito are going to be hitting that first little space part there with no issues, so you both get to have pretty good combos for the beginning of the map here. Accuracy advantage to Taquito. Now we're going to be getting into the fun stuff.
And this is where that flow aim is so important. If you have the stamina for this map, you still need to keep your flow aim in check and be able to put your cursor in the right spot consistently. Otherwise, you will just lose all of your score on some of these patterns. But both of these players still able to keep that combo together. Never mind, Taquito actually dropping the combo earlier on. I was watching Xylis hit these with 99% accuracy, and he looks very, very comfortable. Unfortunately, Taquito finding that break earlier on is going to mean Xylis just running away with the score lead as he continues to hold on to this full combo with, now at this point, 99.4% accuracy. Just looking very, very good for Xylis on this pick. And this is kind of what you wanted to see from him out of the gate. Like you said, unfortunately, Nomod 5 no longer accessible to Xylis, and in fact given over to Tekkito as a early break point. But definitely a solid next 2 maps in a row from Xylis, now up in the 2-1 scoreline.
And double FC from Xylis on both Nomod 2 and DT3 now, so definitely coming into his form after Nomod 5 earlier. Taquito as well. Only one miss aim on a stream. Unfortunately, at the very middle of the map, which is the worst possible place you could miss, but not really too much you can do when the other opponent also FCs the map. That was, however, Xylis' own pick. 2-1 now, Taquito to follow up with the next pick, and Taquito does have a few options, I'd say. Hidden one is probably the obvious one, the awkward aim hidden. I think Taquito, in general, is probably just more favored on that. But he also has Nomod 4, but it's going to be Hidden 1, as I was saying. Just get that out of the way. bit more of a toss-up than I'd say Nomod 4 would be, so I can see why Taquito would want to pick this first.
Yeah, Xylis is not a name player. He, contrary to what some other people have said about him, he is not an aim player. He does not profess to be an aim player. If he ever does profess to be an aim player, it's to joke about random things that people have said about him on Twitter before. So a pick like this, where the actual mechanical strain from the map is relatively high, right? This map actually just over 7 stars, the same star rating as Nomod 1. Fairly difficult aim strain in this pick. A lot of times in early rounds, we'll see Xylis pick Hidden 1, even in 1v1s like in Nick's Winter Cup, for example, earlier this year. He picked Hidden 1 quite a bit in the early stages, just because his hidden reading and his overall ability on the hidden mod is very good. But when you mix in difficult aim strain and high aim strain into these types of maps, it becomes something that he is definitely less proficient on than he typically would be on other maps in the hidden mod pool. And Taquito doesn't really have that issue, has the aim for these sorts of maps into the higher star ratings, even in tournament play where you only get that one try on any given map. And you can already see a pretty clear difference in comfort Taquito on the 99.4% FC at quarter of the way in. And we haven't hit the first KI time yet, but Zylice already with a couple of early on in this map.
And these early misses are actually going to mean quite a lot. You can already see the score lead is just kind of growing and only going to continue growing from this point on. It's almost at 100k already. About a third of the way through the map. Taquito still hitting these awkward jumps. Xylis not too far behind now with the combo. Recovered nicely. Not missing on any of these awkward aim jumps here. So if Taquito does miss, Xylis still has a chance to come here. And, well, there's the miss from Taquito. Xylis doesn't trade it, and all of a sudden, Xylis now with combo advantage. Last third of the map remaining. And virtually identical accuracies, actually identical accuracies, from both of these players right now. Now it's just whether or not Xylis can hold through this ridiculously hard part. This part is absolutely insane to actually hit it consistently in tournament. Taquito does, Xylis doesn't.
Yeah, the accuracy had been clawed back from Xylis. The combo was there until the very end of that difficult part, and Xylis just not quite able to hold on all the way through that section, and so we'll likely lose this pick because of it coming up on the last, I don't know, 1/6 of the map or so in the last little bit that we have here. Not a lot of combo left at this point, and even if there were enough combo for Xylis to stage a comeback, he doesn't have the max combo required to do so, I don't think, with a 70,000 score lead and climbing in favor of Taquito. This is going to be the 2-2 tie-up for these players, and now I think this match gets a little bit more interesting as we kind of run out of the hidden, run out of speed maps, and we're left with a lot of contested picks between these two. You mentioned Nomod 4 as a solid pick for Taquito. I think we might see Hidden 2 for Xylis at some point. Somebody who, especially recently, has been very, very solid on a lot of reading picks in tournaments like Banger Bonanza going on alongside this one. But definitely up in the air as to the next pick for Xylis. As you said, DT1, largely an aim map rather than a test of speed, which we know Xylis is already good at. So I think we're probably likely to see the Hidden 2, the Nomod 4 get picked up by each of these players in this match, but after that, we're really into toss-up territory between these two. And even then, I think there's definitely chances for toss-ups on those two maps as well. Both of these players very solid all-rounders for their respective countries in the Host World Cup and for really any tournament team that they do find themselves on.
It's going to be Hard Rock 3 from Xylis. Kind of a bit surprising to see this, as Xylis did ban Nomod 6, and Taquito is pretty good at these sort of gimmicky, rhythm-oriented picks, which Hard Rock 3 essentially is. It's the follow-up for Nomod 6, I'd say, in this pool, and we're just going to be getting right into it. They are just not wasting any time here.
Yeah, Hard Rock 3 is this is not what I was expecting. Not at all from Xylis on this pool. I don't know, like you said, this is kind of the successor in the mod pool to Nomod 6, kind of a mashup between your typical Nomod 3 and Nomod 6. You still get a lot of the rhythm changes that you find in Nomod 6 in this map in particular. That manifests as a lot of 1/3 and 1/6 rhythms. No stuff like 1/8 or 1/5 or any polyrhythms in this map, but we do have a lot of B-Snap divisor changes in this pick, in addition to the really high level of aim control required to do well on this map. I mean, the type of flow aim and transitions into snap aim that are required on this map are just ridiculous to watch and to play on this pick. We saw scores of around like 300k on this map in the last match between Dumi and Bartek. Taquito already passed that mark, still holding on to the full combo with about 95-96% accuracy. Xylis not too far behind, an early break in the first 100 combo and 95% accuracy himself. Both players actually just crushing this map right now. Three-quarters of the way in and still completely close between the two of them. Xylis still holding on after the early break. Tekkito finally dropping the full combo. And Xylis actually now with a chance to bring it back, but he drops as well right afterwards, and I think that might just seal it up.
These were some absolutely insane scores coming from them for a while, though. I was genuinely not expecting both of these players to do that well on this map. I mean, Taquito, I guess I can see him doing well on this. This is sort of his territory. Even if it is a mod category that he's not comfortable with, you do expect him to sort of be doing really well on these sort of rhythm-oriented maps. Xylis almost getting 600k, though. That, I genuinely was not expecting that. And that's probably why he picked the map. Just, unfortunately, Taquito more comfortable with this sort of map.
Yeah, Taquito just absolutely crushing that pick. One miss, 96% accuracy. By the end of the map, I think at the in the last quarter or so, Xylis dropping the Acolyte did have an impact on the score as well. But man, through the first half, 3/4 of that map, Xylis just 100 combo behind and less than 1% accuracy behind Taquito that whole way through is really something else. Now, however, we do get a pretty expected pick for Taquito in that Nomod 4. We talked about it already, and we saw it in the previous matchup between Dumi and Bartek. The really difficult slider aim pick here for the Nomod Tech map. Lots of really high velocity sliders, lots of slider velocity changes, lots of hard to follow sliders, lots of very long sliders with slider ticks on them, especially near the end and middle of the map. And just a lot of slider aim in general in this pick, something that Taquito is very, very good at and very, very in tournament play specifically. Xylis has definitely been improving his other tournament skill sets besides the raw speed for quite some time now, as we saw on that Hard Rock 3 pick, but it remains to be seen whether he could best Taquito on something like the Nomod Tech pick. And I think if you were to take a poll of random tournament players, the vast majority would still be betting on Taquito at this moment.
Yeah, with an early miss from Xylis. Taquito, by the way, still holding the SS even through these beginning sliders. That's kind of funny. But you were also mentioning about slider aim in this. I want to go one further and say about the cut streams in this map. This is 200 BPM, and there are a few cut streams specifically in the middle of the, well, right here, you can actually see them. They are not easy to hit at all. Unfortunately, these players are making them look very easy, so I can't really say much about that, but yeah, you can sort of see Xylis struggling a lot more with the slider aim. Meanwhile, Taquito, 99.84 sure.
Yeah, this is a really good play from Taquito. Don't know how else to talk about it besides this is really, really good. He's on 1/100. I don't know if that's a slider end or just a regular 100, but either way, even if he's only dropped one slider end, this is still a absurd play so far from Taquito. We'll see if he can continue this level of ridiculousness going into the last quarter of the map. Now, this is where you get some of those sliders with really, really high velocity and slider ticks as well, mixed into some of this relatively normal quote-unquote slider aim sections that have become
what is
standard
this
maps right now. He still is not dropping any slider ends. There's a slider break, however, for Taquito that comes through. Xylis is still holding on to 800 combo. If he manages to combo, I don't know if there's enough time left actually for him to pull this back, but this does open up a door of possibility for Xylis just to crack. But he might be able to take it back. Is there enough combo left in the map? Does he hit enough slider ends? Neither of those is true, and Taquito's still going to be taking it with 100k as a score buffer. 101 slider break for Taquito, though. Wow. That is just stupidly good play. Absolutely ridiculous.
I just want to, like, reiterate how dumb that play is. Like, that you saw the sliders in that map. You saw how unfriendly those slider ends are to hit. He hit them. He doesn't care. And that is going to be a solidified breakpoint now for Taquito, up 4-2 against Xylis.
Yeah, I'm just very a little bit shocked, very shocked by that play from Taquito. That was something else. It would have been really, really sad actually if Xylis had taken the breakpoint on that play, because that play was just incredible.
Absurd.
Yeah. From here though, we are definitely in toss-up territory, right? We are picking now into maps where neither player has a decisive advantage. Double Time 1, absolutely one of those picks. We already have seen Tekkito do very, very well on some of the aim-oriented picks, things like the Hidden One. Like, you could even argue the Hard Rock 3 is an aim-oriented pick, where you're looking at a lot of aim control in that sort of map. This map in DT1, more similar to the Hidden One, but in this case, AR 10.3 DT aim consistency. I say consistency, it's only 2 minutes and 20 seconds, but that is a 3.5-minute map condensed down to 2 minutes and 20 seconds instead. 255 BPM for this pick as well, so nothing absurd in terms of the BPM for single tapping as well. It does keep itself as a possibility for these players. The biggest thing, though, is that this is not a normal map, right? This is not a test of your ability to hit long streams or lots of consecutive bursts like Nomod 5 or DT3 were. This is just DT aim, and so very much not a one-sided Xylis favored pick like some of the other speed maps have been so far.
This is a lot more focus on reading, I'd say. 10.3. Granted, you don't really see that talked as much because you kind of just assume like every single player can read 10.3, especially at this level of tournament play. You just kind of you go in with the assumption that that is something that these players can just automatically do without an issue. But it is a bit of a factor.
It definitely is. I think it's often glossed over because you see them still be able to hit a lot of really tricky patterns with AR 10.3 or AR 10.2 in some of the speed maps. But yeah, you're right. I mean, Xylis has been talking about how he can't actually just read AR 10.3, how he still needs to work on the high approach rate reading. I think it's something that isn't really natural for a lot of players, and that's why you see the patterning in these DT1s often be very simple, right? It's why when you get to those expanded mod pools, Double Time 4 picks that are like techie high AR DT4 picks, why the actual pattern complexity is traded off with mechanical intensity for those types of picks, because the higher approach rate is so difficult to deal with for so many players. But when you get a lot of simple patterning like in these maps, it's often enough for players to just sort of whack-a-mole their way through, so to speak. If you're gonna be a little bit less eloquent about it, just play whack-a-mole a little bit on AR 10.3, as so many of us do when we're playing these high approach rate DT maps, and see how many notes they can hit on the day.
Well, for starters, bit of an knack advantage for Xylis in the early stages of the map. Not that big of a knack advantage, granted, but it is there. It's going to be more on who misses first. That's going to be determining how this map goes, I'd say.
Also a very important pick for Xylis. Taquito currently up 4-2. You can see those points on the bottom of your screen next to the player cards. And if Taquito does take this break point, he now has match point and the next pick, right? This is Xylis' pick, so Taquito getting the next pick regardless of what happens here. If he does win, that is 5-2 match point with the next pick up. So very important pick for Xylis to win, to keep Taquito off of that match point next pick scenario. Eventually, Xylis is going to have to take a break point to at least force the tiebreaker, if not win the match outright. But for now, just needs to worry about continuing to hit these patterns, continuing to hit the notes in this map. Both players still holding now halfway through, 2/3 of the way through this map. The first miss comes out from Xylis, however, and that might just seal it up. They're both going to see the combos on the side of their screens. Xylis certainly saw Taquito's combo there at the side of his screen, and he knows exactly what's going to happen when he does see that combo. It's looking like that 5-2 match point for Taquito scenario we were talking about.
That was like the most cursed smoke right I think I've ever seen in my life. Like that was actually just cursed.
Oh, a little unfortunate in more ways than one for Xylis, I guess.
Solid FC. What were you gonna say, Dio?
I was gonna say the same thing you said. Solid FC from Taquito, and now he's got match point next pick. It's looking very good for him. He's been playing very well throughout this whole match.
A very solid performance from him. Even if he manages to lose this pick, if he gives a breakpoint over to Xylis, Xylis is still going to have to take another breakpoint on top of that. So Taquito has quite a bit of wiggle room to work with here. He can pick maybe one of the more risky picks if he wants to. Maybe go for something like Nomod 3, where it's just like no one person is really favored on that map. Just get that out of the way right now. Alternatively, you could also do maps like Hard Rock 1, get the kinda speed-oriented map out of the way as well.
I almost feel like something like the Nomod 1 might be a really solid pick for Taquito here. As weird as it sounds to recommend Nomod 1, but it looks like he's going to go with Hidden 2, and I'm a little bit surprised at the Hidden 2 just because of how good Xylis has been as of recent at Hidden Reading, but this is a pick that Taquito, when he was first starting out in tournaments, was known for, was the low approach rate Hidden Reading. The same can be said for Xylis. He did have a stint at the start of his tournament career when all he was known for, speed and low approach rate reading. But I think the same can be said to even a higher degree for Taquito with the low approach rate Hidden Reading. Just absolutely phenomenal at it from the time he started playing tournaments until now as well. But Xylis certainly no slouch on this, and in fact, we were thinking this might have been a pick for Xylis earlier on in the match. So something that I'm excited to see both of these players go head-to-head on.
Yeah, well, early stages of the map, Taquito going to be dropping a miss early on there. Not going to matter too much, hopefully. If Xylis FCs, of course it's going to matter, but it's the misses afterwards that really start mattering near the middle of the map. Don't really expect to see FCs at this sort of level of pool difficulty, I'd say, especially in a 1v1 tournament. For now, Both players seeming to have pretty much no issue. It's just that one early miss from Taquito, and as a matter of fact, I think that's his only real discomfort in the map, having the by far higher accuracy than what Xylis is putting up right now. But this is a combo game, and Xylis is comboing.
Again, was talking about this on Double Time 3 at the very start of the match. Xylis not exactly known for super high accuracy on any of the things he's actually good at, but known for being able to combo through them when it counts, and it's definitely counting right now. Tekkito, however, putting the pressure on. Still just the early break, and with that high of accuracy, any misses from Xylis are going to be instantly taken advantage of by Taquito with this still very high combo. Fire, you said the early misses would only matter if Xylis F's might actually matter here, as both players still holding on to their combos at the very end of the map here, and I think that's going to seal it up. Xylis with the full combo on this hidden 2, able to take breakpoint number 1 of 2 to stay alive in this match.
1x100 from Taquito, by the way. You just do that. You got the 1x100 and 1x miss at the first 100 combo of the map, and then SS the rest of it. But Xylis showing the better consistency overall on that. And that's going to be the first break point that he needs to get back into this match. Still needs to get one more in order to get a tiebreaker for himself. But at least now, it's back towards his pick. He can go and see what he wants to do from there. I would say, personally, I think the Hard Rock 1 is probably the better option out of the remaining maps in the pool. Nomod 1, I don't see Xylis picking. I don't think that really works out for him. Kinda same with Nomod 3. So Hard Rock 1 is really the only thing that's left up at this point that is not picked.
I could get behind a Hard Rock 1 pick for Xylis. I think that's actually not a bad shout for him. Between that and Nomod 1 and Nomod 3, I think that's probably the best map that he has. Nomod 3, I could also see him picking just because it is that flow aim pick, and he is going to go for it. Going for the Nomod 3 flow aim consistency test, that alt map in Nomod. Say so Buckets Boy, for those who remember the OG Love version of this song. We saw this earlier between Zilly and Bartek, very almost reminiscent of some of the older alt maps where you look at them and say, this is a low BPM stream map, this is an alt, but then it goes and does all of the modern alt things right afterwards anyway. So a solid mixture of those two types of mapping where you've got a lot of really weird changes between flow aim and snap aim, but you also have a lot of the older styling, just high spacing flow aim alt patterning in this map.
There's also a few 1-6 patterns in this map that could trip players up. Taquito not having any issues with it, but Xylis getting a few 100s on it. And actually an early miss from Xylis on these flow aim patterns as well. Not disastrous. This is, granted, a much higher combo map than Hidden 2, so hopefully, and I'm saying hopefully because I don't imagine Taquito is going to FC this, much less SS this. Okay, well, there goes the SS, so I was right in that regard at the very least. But I do not imagine we'll be seeing an FC on this map. This map gets kind of freaky.
Unfortunately for Xylis, though, he might have to combo a little bit of that freaky section in order to come out on top, given the early misses that he does have, haunting his score at the moment, down about 140, 130 combo on Taquito's score, in addition to the accuracy, of course, but that combo ever so important in O Standard.
Xylis recovering fairly nicely, though. Just that little bit of early discomfort. And, okay, never mind, there goes that. Now a bit more dicey. Now, all of a sudden, Taquito has an 800 combo advantage from a 150 combo advantage, and this score lead is now exponentially increasing by a lot.
And unfortunately for Xylis, that missed right before the easy section as well, before this low free combo for Taquito here. They're both going to see exactly what the game state is during that break as well, both of them likely seeing the leaderboard. Before we now get into the, I think this E section you were talking about right here, Xylis going to have to full combo this part of the map and just pray Taquito misses a bunch during this part. However, those bunches of misses not really coming in for Taquito. He has SS'd this section of the map so far, still at 99.5% accuracy and showing zero signs of discomfort at all. He has not dropped 100 during this part of the map and is still just holding on to the combo.
Yeah, I think that's GG at this point. Still holding the FC, getting through that section, which is by far the hardest part of the map, and he was just looking to, never mind. I seriously need, to stop. I need to stop, seriously.
Man.
Okay, in any case, a 750k score from Tekkito. Very much a solid score on this map, and more than enough to secure him the match. It's going to be progressing on in the losers brackets. Xylis will be unfortunately eliminated from the tournament. Taquito now facing Intercambing for the semifinals matchup.
That's another scary matchup in the losers bracket next weekend for Taquito after already being tested a couple times here by Xylis in this matchup. A lot of close maps between these two. Even this one could have gone the other way if Xylis had held through that middle section of the map, right? Those misses at the end for Taquito could have given it over if Xylis were just a bit more consistent, but unfortunately, this pick was not in the cards for Xylis, and Taquito will be advancing up against Intercambing in the losers bracket next weekend. So congratulations to him, and thank you to Xylis for participating in this edition of Corsace Closed.